Hey students, welcome to today's lecture on artificial neural network. So today we will be starting the unit 6, the last unit of your artificial neural network syllabus. Today we will see the fundamentals of linear separability and also optimal hyperplanes. Okay. So once we understand these two concepts, we'll go through how SVM can be used to find out these optimal hyperplanes in a given problem domain. Okay. Right. So let us start our discussion with what is a binary classification problem and how it is related to this linear separability and all. Okay. So we know that a binary classification problem is to classify the given data set, which is like x1 comma y1, x2 comma y2, and so on, xn comma y1, assuming that this is the input set of patterns that belongs to the domain R power n, and there are two targets only. That is two target classes. The number of target classes is two only. I assume that y is the target class and y belongs to +1 or -1. That means there are only two classes of outputs. One is a positive class and the other one is a negative class. So any of these input pattern will belong to either a positive class or a negative class. Okay. So for example, if you consider x1 comma y1, it may be classified as a positive class. That means it belongs to +1 class, or it may belongs to -1 class, that is a negative class also. Okay, so this is called as a binary classification problem, where there are exactly two sets of classes which the input patterns will fall into. Okay, then what is a linear separability? Linear separability we have already seen in unit 4 and 5, because perceptron neural networks are used for the problems that are linearly separable only. Okay, so we know what is a linear separability, and let us define it again. So assume that the given data set is linear separable, then we will have a equation of line that will be defined like this: w power t into x plus p, or simply you can write it as wx plus p is equals to 0. And then all the input patterns that satisfies wx plus p greater than 0 will fall into this positive class category, and wx plus p less than 0 will fall into this negative class category. Okay, so if we can identify a line like this, wx plus b is equals to 0, in such a way that all positive classes categories will fall into wx plus p greater than 0, and all negative class will fall into wx plus p less than 0. Okay, so if you can find the w and bias that makes it possible, then we can say that it is linearly separable. Okay, and also the decision surface is called as a hyperplane. So remember this name, hyperplane. You will be hearing this name hyperplane in most of the topics of this sixth unit, that is support vector machines. Okay, so what is that hyperplane? The hyperplane is any straight line that divides the corresponding input classes into exactly two classes that satisfies wx plus b. uh, if the input pattern satisfies wx plus b less than 0, then it goes to the negative hyperplane, and if it satisfies wx plus b greater than 0, then it goes to the positive hyperplane. And this is going to be wx plus b is equals to 0 acts as a decision surface that will be called as the hyperplane that separates the given input patterns into two classes. Okay, right. So look at this example. suppose we have two classes of input patterns. Imagine that circles represents the positive class and the squares represents the negative class. Okay, and if you can identify a line that satisfies the equation wx plus b is equals to 0 like this. So this equation, this line satisfies the equation wx plus b is equals to 0. Okay, then we can call it as a hyperplane, right? And all these falls into the positive hyperplane that satisfy these input patterns, assuming that x is the input pattern here. So these all these input patterns satisfies the formula wx plus b greater than 0. So this forms the upper class of this hyperplane. Okay, it is also called as positive hyperplane. Okay, so assuming that each of these are x, the input pattern, every x in this class satisfies this particular property. What is it? Wx plus b is greater than 0. Okay, and then coming to this these patterns, assuming that each of these is a input pattern x, then these satisfy the formula wx plus b is less than 0. Okay, so wx plus b is less than 0. So just like the upper class is a positive class and this is going to be a negative class. Okay, so this line forms a hyperplane that divides the corresponding input classes into two categories because it is a binary classification problem, and therefore it is called as a hyperplane. And this is called as negative hyperplane, and this is called as positive hyperplane. Okay. Right. With this introduction, now let us go through a few more things to understand what exactly it is. We understood that what is a hyperplane. Hyperplane is any decision surface that divides the input patterns into two classes, right? So this is called hyperplane. But now, what is a optimal hyperplane? Okay, so continue the same example. We have circles over here, and we have rectangles or squares here. And if you observe this diagram, there are many possible lines we can draw that satisfies that wx plus b is equals to 0 and separates these input patterns into two classes. So you can draw here to separate these squares from the corresponding circles, or you can draw a line like this to separate these two into two classes. So there are a number of possible ways of identifying these hyperplanes, and all of them are a choice for hyperplane. But the optimal hyperplane is the hyperplane. Okay, it's the hyperplane which divides the corresponding classes with a maximum margin. So look at this diagram now. Of course, there are number of hyperplanes available, but the hyperplane that divides the corresponding classes with a maximum margin. So if you observe this hyperplane, there is maximum distance between these two and maximum distance between these two also. So what happens with this maximum margins is, even if some input pattern, which is a circle identified at this position, for example, let us say at this position, we can classify it correctly as a circle. Okay, and if this margin is increased, then we have a chance to identify everything that falls before this as a square. Okay, so there is a chance of increasing the correct predictions if the margin is as maximum as possible. So therefore, the main aim of the support vector machines is going to be identifying this optimal hyperplane that separates the given input patterns into two classes. Okay, so that is what the optimal hyperplane is. now. So if you look at the above two classifications, the second diagram shows the optimal hyperplane. Since the decision boundaries are separated by a large margin, that is what I am saying. If the margin that is separating the corresponding input patterns is as maximum as possible, then we call that decision surface as optimal hyperplane. Okay, and when it comes to the support vector machines, whenever you see this line is identified with the closest input point that belongs to the negative class, that is positive class. And if you observe this line, this contains two closest points that belongs to the negative class. So these three are called as support vectors for this hyperplane. Okay, so we will understand this later when we come across the linear SVM. Okay, we'll design linear SVMs as part of this unit also. So I will explain what are support vectors and how do we identify these support vectors with the help of examples later. Okay, so as of now, just imagine that support vectors are the set of separating lines, are the points that defines the boundaries of input patterns, are known as support vectors. Okay, and the main aim of support vector machine is to find the optimal hyperplane as shown in this diagram. So that will be our main goal with SVM. Okay. Look at this diagram to understand a few terminology that you need to remember in order to clearly understand the remaining topics related to support vector machines. Here is two classes. One is in blue color and the other one is in green color. Okay, so I have identified an optimal hyperplane here. So this is called as optimal hyperplane. Okay, and the hyperplane that is identified below that optimal hyperplane is called as a negative hyperplane because it identifies the boundary of the negative class inputs. Okay, and there is one more hyperplane drawn to identify the boundary of positive class. Therefore, it is called as a positive hyperplane. And the margin between this actual optimal hyperplane and the positive hyperplane plus optimal hyperplane and negative hyperplane is called as maximum margin. Okay, so this is called as maximum margin, and optimal hyperplane is also called as maximum margin hyperplane. And the points that lies on positive hyperplane and negative hyperplane are called as support vectors. So if you observe this blue square is the closest point for this positive hyperplane, and this green point is closest to the negative hyperplane. Therefore, these two are identified as support vectors for this classification problem. Okay, so that is what you need to understand. So this terminology will be useful for you when you define what is support vector machine and how the classification is done later on. Okay, so now let us go through the algorithm to identify the optimal hyperplane for linear separable pattern without using SVM. Okay, we'll go through the list of steps to identify the optimal hyperplane if the input patterns are linearly separable. Okay, and also we'll go through another algorithm for identifying the optimal hyperplane if the input patterns are not linearly separable also. Okay, so we'll see it later, but for now let us consider this case, finding optimal hyperplane for linearly separable patterns. Okay, now to find the optimal hyperplane, first what we need to do is we need to find a hyperplane which separates the data. So it need not be an optimal hyperplane. First thing is you need to identify a hyperplane that separates the corresponding data into two classes. So we know that Wx plus B is equals to 1 represents the positive samples, and wx plus b is equals to minus 1 represents the negative samples, and wx plus b is equals to 0 identifies the hyperplane. Okay, so we'll consider these two formulas, wx plus b is equals to 1 and wx plus b is equals to minus 1, that is representing the positive samples and negative samples, and we'll try to derive a single constraint that defines both the samples. Okay, so let us combine these two constraints now into a single one. For positive samples, we know that it is wx plus b is equals to 1. For negative samples, we know that it is wx plus b is equals to minus 1. Okay, now multiply di on both sides. So what we get is di into wx plus b is equals to 1 into di, where di is the desired response. Okay, and the desired response for positive samples is 1, we know. Therefore, substitute 1 on right hand side here. 1 into 1, di into wx plus b becomes 1 now. So this formula is di into wx plus b is equals to 1. Similarly, what we get here is, if we multiply di for this equation also, you will get it like this. Di into wx plus b is equals to minus 1 into di for negative samples is minus 1. That is, the desired response from the negative samples is minus 1. So if we substitute minus 1 for di, it is going to be minus 1 into minus 1, that becomes 1. So if you observe, both the formulas are representing the same equations now, same constraint. What is it? Di into wx plus b is equals to 1. That is the constraint. So let us represent this equation as 1. So di into wx plus b minus 1 is equals to 0 is the only constraint we get for both the input samples, that is positive samples and negative samples. Okay, so we can represent them uniformly now with the help of only single constraint. So once we identified this, step 2 is we need to find out the width between positive hyperplane and negative hyperplane. Okay, that becomes the maximum margin separation for the corresponding binary classification problem. So to identify this width between positive hyperplane and negative hyperplane, we need to draw the positive hyperplane x plus. Imagine these two terminologies. X plus represents the positive hyperplane and x minus represents the negative hyperplane. Okay, so let us draw the positive hyperplane x plus and draw the negative hyperplane x minus. Okay, and then consider the unit vector w, which is perpendicular to the hyperplane. Okay, so I'll show you how it is taken with the help of a diagram. Just wait a moment here, and then calculate the width is equals to, the formula is like this: x plus minus x minus into w by unit vector w. Okay, so this formula is used for calculating the width between positive and negative hyperplanes. And how we get this? Let us go through the diagram. See, this is called as a positive hyperplane. Okay, so this represents x plus, right? This is x plus, and this represents x minus. Okay, and this is the unit vector w, which is taken as perpendicular to the corresponding hyperplane. We know that the hyperplane will be optimal. The hyperplane will be like this. Okay, so we take it as a unit vector perpendicular to the hyperplane. And now to get this distance between positive hyperplane and the negative hyperplane, the formula is we need to consider x plus minus, okay, x minus. This will be the formula. And then because we took it as unit vector, you should calculate it as w by norm w, that defines the unit vector of w. Okay, so that is what we explained in the previous slide. Okay, so the width is calculated as x plus minus x minus into w by mod w, the unit vector w. So we need to calculate what is this x plus minus x minus now, and then We will identify the formula for calculating width in terms of unit vector W. Okay. So let us calculate the x plus minus x minus. Okay, so from the equation one, what we have is a single constraint di into wx plus b minus 1 is equals to 0 can represent both positive samples and negative samples. We got this formula from equation 1. And for positive samples, we know that this x is going to be x plus, and the desired response is going to be plus 1 for positive samples. Okay, therefore, substitute these two values into this equation, we get 1 into wx plus b minus 1 is equals to 0. Okay, so once we solve this equation, we get x plus is equals to 1 minus b. Okay, so why? Because w is known as unit vector, so you can substitute w is equal to 1 here. Therefore, x plus is going to be 1 minus b. Okay, so this is what we got for x plus. Okay, how we got it? It is from the equation 1. From this equation, by substituting desired response di and the positive sample x plus for x. Okay. Similarly, from the same equation, we need to find out how this equation will be modified for x minus also, for negative samples also. So for negative samples, we need to substitute x is equal to x minus, and the desired response di is going to be minus 1. Okay, so let us substitute it in the equation. We'll get minus 1 into wx minus plus b minus 1 is equals to 0. This will give us x minus is equal to 1 plus b minus w. So this is going to be 1 for w. You can substitute it here. So it's going to be minus 1 minus b. Okay. So the formula for x minus is minus 1 minus b. So once we have the values of x plus and x minus, now we are ready to calculate what is x plus minus x minus. So we got x plus as 1 minus b and x minus as minus 1 minus b. So if you subtract x plus minus x minus, you will get 1 minus b minus of minus 1 minus b is equals to, if you multiply minus into this minus 1 minus b, you will get it as 1 plus b. So b and b gets cancelled because one is negative and the other one is positive, and the value you got is 2. So x plus minus x minus is now calculated as 2. Okay. Now what is the formula for calculating width? For calculating width, we have the formula width is equal to x plus minus x minus into w by unit vector w. Okay. So let us use this unit norm w also. We got this x plus minus x minus as 2. So this becomes 2 into w by mod w. 2 into w by mod w, and w is a unit vector, so we can substitute 1 for this. So finally, we get that width as 2 by mod w. Okay, so that is the formula for calculating the width between the positive hyperplane and the negative hyperplane. So if you observe, uh, because width is inversely proportional to w, if you take maximum values for w, you will get width minimum. Therefore, if you consider minimum values for w, then you will get maximum margin for your classification problem. Okay, so remember this inverse relationship between w and maximum margin. You can calculate width as 2 by not w. Okay, right. So that is the equation and formula that we got for identifying an optimal hyperplane in a linear separability class. Okay, and also we can perform quadratic optimization for finding the optimal hyperplane also. That involves a little bit of mathematics that makes use of Lagrange's multipliers. Okay, So let us go through how we can use Lagrange's multipliers to find out this optimal hyperplane. Of course, this is the chosen method for our sample examples also. In solid examples, we'll make use of Lagrange's multipliers to identify the optimal hyperplane. So let us understand how this can be done. Okay, so the problem of finding the optimal hyperplane can be solved using Lagrange's multipliers also, as I told. And starting with the constraint that we derived from equation 1. So we got this di into wxi plus b minus 1 is equals to 0 for I is equals to 1 to n. Okay, for each input pattern xi. Okay, now uh, with this constraint, now we can use Lagrange's multipliers to solve this constrained optimization problem. That is defined as the Lagrange's multiplier is defined as L is equals to half into mod W whole square minus summation alpha I into the formula di of Wxi plus b minus 1. Okay, so this equation can be used to solve the constrained optimization problem. This is another way of solving it. Okay, now if we apply the partial differentiation to the equation L with respect to W, so I'm not showing the derivation part here. So what we get if you apply that partial differentiation to L is, we'll get this equation. L is equals to summation of I is equals to 1 to n alpha I minus half into summation I is equals to 1 to n summation j is equals to 1 to n alpha I alpha j di dj xi xj, where alpha I alpha j di dj xi xj performs a dot vector product. Okay, so dot product will be performed between them, where alpha i's are called as Lagrange's terms, which are always going to be positive terms. Okay, so let us understand this again. So this is our constraint that represents our samples, positive samples and negative samples. Di into wxi plus b minus 1 is equals to 0. And to solve this constrained optimization, we can use Lagrange's multipliers that is defined as L is equals to half mod W square minus summation alpha I di into Wxi plus b minus 1. So if we apply partial differentiation to this equation with respect to W, then we get L is equals to summation I is equals to 1 to n alpha I minus half into summation I is equals to 1 to n j is equals to 1 to n alpha I into alpha j di into dj xi into xj, where alpha is are the Lagrange's terms, di and dj are the responses, expected responses or desired responses, and xi and xj are the input vector. So we'll make use of this formula while solving our linear SVM problems. Okay, so try to remember this formula. We'll make use of this while solving the example problems later on. Okay, so Lagrange's multipliers are useful for solving the linear separability problems for calculating the optimal hyperplanes. Okay, so that's it for today. We just go through the concepts that we discussed till now. What we discussed is we started with what is a binary classification problem. In binary classification problem, there will be two classes of outputs, positive class and the negative class, where each input pattern falls into one of these two classes. Okay, and then hyperplane means that the line wx plus b is equals to 0, that separates the positive class and negative class input samples into two classes. Okay, like this. Okay, this is called as hyperplane. And then optimal hyperplane means in a particular space input space, there may be several hyperplanes that can be identified to separate the positive class inputs and negative class inputs. Out of all these hyperplanes, the hyperplane with maximum margin of separation between positive classes and negative classes is called as optimal hyperplane. Okay, and we have seen what is a support vector also. Support vectors are the points that defines the positive hyperplane and negative hyperplane. Okay, so if you observe this point identifies the support vector for positive hyperplane, and these 2 points identifies the support vectors for negative hyperplane. Okay, and we have gone through some literature, that is terminology also. What is a maximum margin hyperplane or boundary surface or decision surface or optimal hyperplane, and what is a positive hyperplane, what is a negative hyperplane, and what are support vectors also. We explain this. Okay, and we have derived a formula for optimal calculating the optimal hyperplane for linear separable patterns. Okay, so we know that the patterns are said to be linear separable if we can draw a line between hyperplane between the positive class and negative class samples, and the formulas for representing the positive samples is Wx plus b is equals to 1. The formula for representing the negative samples is Wx plus b is equals to -1. By combining these two, we get a single constraint to represent both positive samples and negative samples as di into Wx plus b minus 1 is equals to 0. And in step 2, we will try to calculate the width of separation between positive hyperplane and negative hyperplane by using this formula. Width is equals to x plus minus x minus into w by mod w. Okay, so we identified that formula with the help of this scenario. Okay, identifying x plus connecting the positive hyperplane, x minus connecting the negative hyperplane, and a unit vector w. We got that formula. Okay, so now for x plus and x minus, we found the formula as 2. So after calculating x plus minus x minus, we get the value as 2. Therefore, the width calculation becomes width is equals to 2 by mod w by substituting w is equals to 1 here. Okay, so this says that for minimum values of w, width can be maximized. Okay, now this is about the quadratic optimization that is applied for finding optimal hyperplane, and this gives us the best hyperplanes that contains the maximum separation between positive hyperplanes and negative hyperplanes. For quadratic optimization, we will make use of Lagrange's multipliers, that is defined as L is equals to half into mod w squared minus summation alpha into the constraint we got from equation 1, that is di into wxi plus b minus 1. Okay, and if we partially differentiate this with respect to w, we get this L is equals to summation of I is equals to 1 to n alpha I minus half into summation I is equals to 1 to n summation j is equals to 1 to n alpha I into alpha j di into dj xi into xj, where alpha terms are Lagrange's terms, which are always going to be positive, and d terms are desired responses, and x terms are the input patterns. Okay, so that is what we discussed today. An introduction part. There is nothing much to learn from this particular topics now. Just a terminology introduction over here. In our next session, we will go through how we actually calculate this optimal hyperplane by considering examples also. Okay, so I'll explain more about this linear separability and finding the optimal hyperplanes in our next class. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you all for your patient listening. See you again in the next lecture. Thank you again.